Final Fantasy may not have won a lot of awards at the Game Awards, but oh my god if it didn't show up and show out. Final Fantasy XVI announced not just one, but 2 DLCs, paid DLCs, but they both look pretty dang good. The first DLC, Echoes of the Fallen, is available right now, by the way, at $10, with an expansion pass that includes the second DLC, The Rising Tide, for $25. I assume, and I agree with the popular sentiment going around right now, that would mean The Rising Tide would be $20, which means that it would be a bigger DLC than the one we have available to us right now. But Echoes of the Fallen seems like it adds an additional story surrounding the icons and the history of Alastea, introducing a few extra fights into the mix, like against Sigma and Omega Ionios, who just looks awesome. And it seems like the DLCs at this point are just giving us more of what we liked about Final Fantasy XVI, and really leaning into the whole spectacle of it all, which in my opinion was one of the biggest strengths of Final Fantasy XVI, was when it made use of its great combat system and combat loop and just gave you interesting encounters to utilize that combat system with. I don't see how important overarching-wise these stories can be by themselves, since we know the ending, unless the Rising Tide changes the ending somehow, and we just don't know about that. I'm not gonna bank on that, but maybe, who knows. But if you enjoyed the combat loop and just the world of Alastea and Final Fantasy XVI as a whole like I did, these DLCs seem to be pretty promising in that department. I can't wait to jump into Echoes of the Fallen. One of my favorite aspects of Final Fantasy XVI was the boss fights, and it seems like we're getting a decent chunk of them with the new DLCs. And I love the fact that Leviathan is being brought up in the Rising Tide. And while also getting Leviathan as a new icon that we can use. That just seems like a ton of fun. So while I don't expect these DLCs to necessarily break any ground, unless they do go the route of it providing an additional ending for us, they just look like they're gonna be solid content for people who like or love Final Fantasy XVI and just want more of that. But let's hop on over to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for right now. Okay, I was just going to film this for video in the background, but it seems like this is an expanded trailer from what we saw at the Game Awards. So let's deep dive into this Final Fantasy VII Rebirth theme song announcement trailer. I did see the one live at the Game Awards, but this seems like it's going to be at least a little bit longer, so let's deep dive into this. The song is amazing, by the way. Oh my god. The world will be saved, but will you? It feels like the plot for Rebirth will be that we are going to save the world and prevent the ending of Final Fantasy VII. The question will be, can we save ourselves and maybe Aerith? We got the old man there, cool. Vincent. I need to be able to play as Vincent. I can't wait for the time when we can. In the next game, after Rebirth. I wish we could play him in the game. Dude, Loveless. Everyone but Biggs is dead. Oof.
I forget things everyone else remembers just fine. And know things I've got no right knowing.
And know things I got no right knowing. The combat looks so much improved.
Now it's my turn.
Is it you, or is it the pooch?
Is it the pooch?
That there is our man. When fate sets us a challenge, we must rise to meet it.
I like this guy. This guy looks like a Chad.
Is there anything I can do for you? I want to help.
Is that Sid? Okay, I like Sid in this game. Okay. Dude, the summons are going wild. Phoenix, though? Okay. I think that was Phoenix. The summons look awesome.
Look at me, Barrett. You think I want Marlene to see what her father's become?
God, that storyline's gonna break people. Me.
When she wakes up, a scary man is gonna kill her.
Huh? When she wakes up, a scary man is gonna kill her. We're not, like, glossing over that, right? We'll be back to that one section. Again, goated theme song, by the way. You know this scene is going to... Not scene. You know this song is going to play at the end. When Sephiroth attempts to kill Aerith again. You know it's going to happen. There's not a doubt in my mind this is the credits song. And it's going to break so many people. Myself included, probably. Okay, or maybe it's just gonna be a scene where she sings the gold saucer. Maybe that's it. That's Marlene's storyline is gonna be so emotional. Don't do this to me. Yeah, like, don't do this to me. If she wakes up, someone's going to kill her. I wonder if this scene could be taking place in the Zack timeline.
Please, I'm begging you, lend me your strength.
I'm begging you, lend me your strength. February 29th. Oh, that's going to be such a good day. I cannot wait to play this game, dude. I really can't. It looks like it's going to be so good, and I've said this before, but from everything we have seen in the trailers, this game looks like a strict improvement upon what Remake brought to the table. In both combat, open world scenarios, it just looks fun and entertaining. I'm so invested in the narrative as well. I really am. I think there's a few pitfalls it could absolutely fall into, like the timeline business being a little bit too confusing or convoluted, and you obviously have to tread carefully with that, but it's just like, I prefer to be optimistic because I was so pleased and happy with how Remake turned out that I'd honestly just rather be optimistic here.
I forget things.
Because everything that I'm seeing seems really cool and fun. There's the hand massage lady, so maybe we'll get another luxury one, yeah?
Everyone else remembers just
You know we gotta dump another 5K on that.
things I've got no right knowing.
Cloud,
That combo attack with Cloud and Aerith there looks so clean.
you saved me before. Now it's my turn.
The combo with Tifa and Kate Sith, where she just yeets Kate Sith as an attack, I love that.
You or is it the pooch? I'm just messing with you. That there is our man.
I think this is one of the greatest strengths of Final Fantasy VII and the remake, and what seemingly will be Rebirth as well, is its blend between the very serious and emotional moments which impact at least me a lot, and really land, and you intermix that with the bombastic, high-octane, in-your-face comedy that I think Rebirth and Remake are nailing right now. They have that goofy silliness and wackiness, which is, in my opinion, somewhat at least, and the heart and soul of Final Fantasy. And it's really invoking that.
Fate sets us a challenge. We must rise to meet it.
And you know this line's gonna come back and be like memorable for Cloud upon his journey. You know this. I can see it happening. Oh no, he said rumbling. Rumbling! Rumbling! By the way, if you're wondering why I'm talking like this, it's because my voice is absolutely shot after yelling and screaming at the Game Awards during the stream for like 4 hours on end. I had a lot of fun with that one. I think everyone did as well. It was so much fun. Okay, Marlene is like a prophet, I guess. Prophet Marlene. When is Marlene's Gospel gonna come out? Yeah, when's the DLC to the Bible dropping? When she wakes up, a scary man is gonna kill her. I feel like this is obviously hinting towards Sephiroth killing Aerith. Like what happened in the original game. I feel like this is a clear hint towards that. And I think what Remake has been doing so well is understanding the expectations of the player. Going into the base Remake, everyone knew who Sephiroth was. Jesse Cox talked about this a while ago on his Jmulls Gaming show. And I agree wholeheartedly with this take, is that when you go into Final Fantasy VII Remake, Sephiroth isn't a mystery. He's not someone that we piece the pieces of the puzzle together or we hear about in like spoken whispers throughout the game. We all know who Sephiroth is. We know what he looks like. We know about that big signature scene. It's been one of the biggest spoilers in the gaming community in the last like 20 or so years. It's not a secret anymore, and it's not going to have that appeal to it that it once did, because that story has already happened, so you can utilize Sephiroth in a new way, and utilize him way earlier and more in your face than you did before, and break expectations that way, and use as a narrative plot device to keep the story feeling fresh and new, while also still being cohesive. And I think they're going to be doing something extremely similarly when it comes to the Aerith death, because everyone knows that this game is likely to end with the scene where in the original game, Aerith is killed by Sephiroth. It is the biggest spoiler in all of gaming. It is the Snape kills Dumbledore of video games. Everyone knows about this scene. Everyone knows to anticipate this scene. And they know that everyone is questioning, will she die or will she not? And we come back to two main scenes in this trailer. The world will be saved, but will you? Who is you referring to? Is it us, the player, or is it referring to Cloud, or is this referring to Aerith? And we also have this scene with Marlene. which we know takes place in the Zack timeline, because duh, he's right here.
Promise not to tell?
Promise not to tell.
When she wakes up, a scary man is gonna kill her.
When she wakes up, a scary man is going to kill her. But this is also implying that Aerith in one of these timelines is asleep. Or could it be that she is referring to this being like a sleeping state? And when she wakes up, you see the Sephiroth flower. Not flower, but feather. Sorry, I'm tired.
Please, I'm begging you. Lend me your strength.
I'm begging you, lend me your strength. I feel like the biggest question going into Rebirth will be, will he or won't he? We still don't entirely understand what Sephiroth's plans are. We know he does not want the original timeline of Final Fantasy VII to happen. And we know that if Aerith dies, and we have to assume that Sephiroth also knows this fact, if Aerith dies, we gain access to Holy, which will allow us to progress the timeline according to the original game. Is that what Sephiroth truly wants? Or what I think could happen, I'm not sold on this being an idea of what will happen. I think it's a possibility, though, that somehow, some way, in this scene, it's not Sephiroth coming to kill Aerith. It's Sephiroth coming to save Aerith. I don't think this story has to go either way. I don't think the story has to save Aerith to be good, and I don't think it has to have Aerith die here to be good. I think there's ways to tell this story and this narrative in a way that's conducive to an overarching theme about destiny and fate in an interesting way, whether or not she dies or not. I think one of the things they could do is really flesh out the character of Sephiroth, which we assume they're going to in this game. We know he's playable in certain sections. And it would be a massive twist if in the scene where he originally kills her, this time, because he has seen the version of the events of the original Final Fantasy VII, he knows how that timeline goes. He recognizes and is cognizant of the fact that for his new machinations to transpire, or for him to quote-unquote win in this new timeline, for whatever reason, he has to save Aerith from something, maybe Genova, maybe not, could be Shinra, that is trying to come and kill her. So maybe, again, I'm not sure I'm sold on this happening, but maybe something happens to where the original crew, like our crew, Cloud, Bear, Tifa, and everybody, we are like indisposed somewhere else, and maybe Shinra troops are like about to walk up to Aerith, like Crisis Core style with Zack, Sephiroth, and she opens her eyes, and we see the Sephiroth feathers. And he comes down and he saves her so she can cast the spell for whatever reason. I'm just trying to think because I don't know if this game will end in a way that okay, let me reiterate this. There's two main ways I think this game ends. She dies or lives, obviously. But the tone for which that happens will be completely different. Either they completely subvert expectations from people going in and say, okay, we are going to save her, but the methodology in which we're going to do so and why we're going to do so and how we do so will be different to how you probably will think this will happen. Or the entire play on the expectation will be that we all think going into this scene that we'll find some way to stop her, but it's inevitable she has to die for whatever reason. But maybe Sephiroth isn't the one to kill her here. That could be a possibility. There's so many ways this story can progress, and I'm down for whatever. I'm just here along for the ride. It seems well shot, well choreographed, the voice acting is superb as it always was with Remake. The combat looks super fun and engaging. It's a great time to be a fan of Final Fantasy in my opinion. Final Fantasy 16 was a massive success in my book. I love that game. I may not be that big on the ending, but I don't think it spoils the entire game for me. The DLC looks really interesting for Final Fantasy 16, and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth could easily be my game of the year next year. 100% could easily be it. If it holds up to these expectations that I'm at least getting from these trailers and the gameplay that was shown and talked about. It looks great. It looks fun, it looks wacky, it knows when to take itself seriously and when to let go and have some fun and comedic relief. And I love that about the remake games. I'm all on board. I really am. It's so good to be a Final Fantasy fan right now. It really is. So here's what I want you to do. Leave a comment down below with your favorite Final Fantasy game. I want to hear your story because we all have our own different ones, right? I'm partial to Final Fantasy 15 because that was the first Final Fantasy game that I ever beat. It's what got me into this series that I now love so much. My favorite overall is probably Final Fantasy 14 just because of all the memories that I have in that game. But I love all the Final Fantasies that I've played pretty much. And I'm a big fan of 7 and I'm a big fan of the remake. And I love Final Fantasy 16 and I love what I'm seeing from Rebirth. It's just cool overall. And let me know how you feeling about the DLC for Final Fantasy 16. You excited? You a bit pessimistic? Let me know why. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions. And do the same thing with Rebirth. How do you think this game ends? Do you think Aerith dies? Do you think she's going to die to Sephiroth or some other party that kills her? Maybe Cloud. Or do you think she lives? And do you think maybe I have a good idea here with Sephiroth saving her somehow? Or do you think that we just save her in a more traditional format? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and hear your theories, because this is some of the best times for Final Fantasy games before the game comes out with all the theorizing that we can do. I find it so much fun. I really do. Especially when I'm overall optimistic about the series and the state of the series right now. So, with that, I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to go rest my voice up. If you can't tell, it's a bit short from a long stream. I've had a ton of fun. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Final Fantasy's looking bright, people. And it seems like this won't be the final Final Fantasy. Haha, get it? Pun on the name. You love it. Don't forget, I stream on this YouTube channel as well. So come around, have some fun with us. Love to see you around. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe. Okay, my voice is really starting to go. I gotta hurry up this outro. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.